Hello, good evening and welcome. And today we have a black box. Well, what could it be? Anyone's guess? Yeah, well, you probably read the description and the text title of the video, so it is a Roland sound canvas. Actually, it's a sound canvas SC-55. This is a MIDI sound module, and it's the cheapest way, for me at least, to get some hardware MIDI sounds for the adventure games. So I still like the ad-lib sound, but it's nice to have this thing. Back in the day I used to have an ESA card, a sound canvas SCC1, but I sold that. I should have probably kept it because those are really expensive now. These external modules are much more common. They're pretty neat. There's the original MT32 module, which is really expensive as well, like 400 to 500 euros a piece. I got this labeled broken and untested, but I had a suspicion that it might work because the seller said the display works and the buttons seem to work, but he can't test. He doesn't have audio or MIDI, and well, it actually does work. We will open it in a minute or two to take a look at the internal battery, because those can leak. It has like a little bit of RAM to store settings, and for that it uses a buffer battery, and let's hope that this is still intact, and we might want to remove that. Okay, what do we have here? On the front we have the power switch, volume knob for headphones, and a front MIDI connector. Then the nice little display which shows what the thing is doing, which instruments are currently playing, and a whole bunch of buttons, which you usually don't need if you just want to play games. But remember, this is actually a musical instrument, so you can attach any MIDI keyboard here and actually play some music. On the back side, sorry, that was a little bump. On the back side we have a line input and output to mix other synthesizers in here. The output I'm using to capture the stuff, and the standard MIDI DIN sockets for MIDI input, output and through. The MIDI out, I'm actually wondering what this is for. Maybe to play back stored songs or something. MIDI in is the most important, so using this is actually what makes this thing actually do something. And right now I can only hook it up to my Mac. We will find something to hook it up to the 286 as well, but that's for a future episode. And it needs a power supply, negative center, 9 volts, 500 milliampere. So this you can get on Amazon pretty cheaply, or on eBay or whatever. And that's about it. Here it says it's a model SC-55, and it's not a Mark II, but that's good enough. The synthesizer in here is alright. I think it's the same as in the Mark II, which has a bit more buttons and ports, but that's about it. Okay, I can connect it to my Mac via this neat little device. It's a Roland USB MIDI interface. You can buy them from any old company, which are probably even a few bucks cheaper. This was cheap enough. Also the cables are pretty cheap, so it's a low-end solution, but it works. I already can tell you that it works with ScummVM, for example, on the Mac or Windows or whatever, and it will be able to use the SC-55 then for playback in all the old nice adventure games. And I will show you that in a minute as well. But first of all, we wanted to open up this thing. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 screws here, and a 5th one. And I think that should be all that's needed to get inside, I hope. So let's grab our nice tool set. Our high quality China tool set. And pick some kind of large-ish bit. I might even have to take... Oh, look. Let's try this one. Okay, no. I have to pause momentarily and fetch some bigger tools, because these are actually really too small. Let me see, no. I only have 2 millimeters here and they are much too small. Definitely need something bigger. Okay, I'll be back in a second. Alright, so here we go. High quality Aldi screwdriver with interchangeable bits. So this seems to work fine. Of course, I'm already dropping all the screws everywhere. The manuals for these devices you can actually still get from Roland's website. They produced hundreds of devices from, I guess, the 70s on. And since there's music instruments, most of them are music instruments, they are sometimes still used today for vintage sound. I mean, there is software emulation, etc. But people do like to have physical instruments in their hands and in their setup. So basically these things will not get any cheaper anymore, because there will always be someone wanting to have one of these. Alright, here we are. And I see the button cell. Looks actually pretty interesting. Maybe I'll turn it around. So, it says here, Roland mainboard SC-55. There's the button cell. Can we actually move the button cell? That's a good question. It feels a bit loose. It's actually pretty clean in here. The cell also doesn't look like it's broken. Yeah, I'm wondering if we can actually get it out there. Just want to see if it's any kind of danger to a leak. I don't know. So these seem to be all custom ICs. I see only Roland everywhere basically. I think there's a Hitachi I see, another Hitachi, so those seem to be fine. There's a Fujitsu one, and yeah, that's about it. I don't know what these are. T, it says T, I don't know. Never seen that company. The electrolytics look nice. Clean, shiny, not bulging. I mean, the thing works pretty well. The display assembly looks rather complex here. The Toshiba IC, probably some kind of LCD driver or something. Maybe those here. I don't know. However, I really would love to get this battery. One moment, please. Alright, here we are. So it is a bit wiggly. I think it's probably, yeah, it's still soldered in, I think, but it's only held in place probably by those two pins. Anyway, let me put this somewhere. So let me zoom in here, try to center, and then zoom in. So I'm not sure if you can see this very well, but there is leakage on this battery around this here, this place, and that place. Careful not to shorten out those two poles. Yeah, so I definitely will leave this out for the time being. This cell is probably, I don't know, 20 years old at least, maybe even more. Let me zoom out again. So the unit will work without the button cell, and I'm currently not intending to put one in there, except that if I, in the meantime, after using it, determine I really need that cell, but I doubt it actually. For video games, people say you basically don't need the button cell because there's no setting that you want to keep. Basically, when power on, it will go back to default state, and that's just fine for the games, because the games will actually send some sysx commands to this thing and set it up in the way that they need it. So any preset might probably do some harm. Yeah, but I can open it at any time and insert a battery. Other than that, I'm gonna say this looks almost like new. It smells a little bit of like it has been in a smoker's place, but very faintly. And everything else looks gorgeous. I think it wasn't probably used very much. Yeah, I'll put it back together now, and we will have a few test songs from ScummVM. And I'm also trying to show you what the display looks like. I have to figure out how to point the camera at this, and I will just run the demo song, and you can just yeah, I mean, it's not, the demo song is not great, but you can see what the display looks like. Okay.
do 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 do